Yo, what is up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to another live episode of WrestleSense, our first one for 2024. We ended the year with some fun stuff. We did some end of the year awards and talk about some of the big events coming up. So now we have a little more idea of what the new year is going to bring, but it looks exciting. There's a lot of, I don't want to say big news. We're going to do the 6 senses today. So we're going to talk about 6 different topics. Maybe a 7th. Wally's in the house. There he is. Good to see you, Wally. Crushing Kelly's here. What's happening, Kelly? Wheels is in the building. Aaron West is here. Clinton's here. Daniel Berry. What is happening? Andy Price. And we will touch base on Wrestle Kingdom. That was 4 in the morning this morning and everything, too. So we got a decent amount of stuff to talk about. We're just going to talk about wrestling from 4 different perspectives. Let's bring on the boys and chit chat about what's going down in pro wrestling world. What's up, CJ?
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good,
sir. I don't know if you.
What's going on? Hello.
I don't know if you noticed or not. I'm the best around, and you all still suck.
Yeah.
Oh God.
What's happening? Doc's in the house. Ray's here. Everybody's in the building. I like it. So, I thought
Hold
about.
on. Check the pulse real quick.
Checking pulse.
On time and here. Oh
yeah,
my
but
God.
I won't be next week. Next week I'll be in Mexico. So
Ooh, party
Look
time.
at that.
Lucha Libre.
I've thought about this before.
hope.
Every
That'd be
morning
awesome.
while I'm on the shitter scrolling through social media, something comes up that happened on this day in professional wrestling. So I figured we could do something like that here because 25 years ago today in the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, the good old Billy Silverman standing back as the referee. It was the finger poke of doom.
Yeah.
Whoa, man.
That is phenomenal booking.
And a lot of people say it's the beginning of the downfall of WCW. What do you guys think? You think this is like when they finally jumped the shark, or they already jumped it?
This was still entertaining as hell.
Yeah, I mean, this is when I was really into WCW.
The moment WCW jumped the shark, in my opinion, you can say whatever you want, but it was whenever Jeff Jarrett and Hulk Hogan and Vince Russo, that is the moment that WCW became a lost fucking cause. Whenever Vince Russo comes out and cuts a promo on your champion, why he's even on TV. I mean, if you want to get technical, the moment they hired Vince Russo, everything went to shit.
I mean, this went crazy afterwards. After this happened, then you had Steiner come in and you had Luger come in and pretend to be on his side. Next thing you know, he turns. And next thing, Goldberg comes down. You got all. It was just one of those schmoz WCW shows that you normally got back then.
However, though, you're talking about a rating thing. Mm-hmm. On night, they didn't do this on a pay-per-view. Like, if this would have been the main event of Starrcade, with the finger poke of doom, then sure, I get it. But this was just entertaining. If you were, at least for me, we would have been, what, like 16, 17?
99.
Somewhere in that ballpark. Like, if you were a teenager or an early 20s wrestling fan and you weren't wise to the business or whatever, and this stuff is going on, you are losing your shit on the couch. Like, oh, my God. Oh, my. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't the death of the business. This was great television. I mean, yeah, if you want to be a wrestling purist and a lineage and it's still real to me, damn it. Yeah, then it's a little offensive, but fuck off. It's TV, man.
Doc?
You wouldn't say David Arquette, though? I was thinking maybe David Arquette was the big where the shovels started digging that grave, was giving him the World Heavyweight title. I don't know. I mean, the finger poke of doom, I have to agree with DH on this one because the simple fact is that was that's one for tonight. Yeah, you like that? Start beeping me every time.
Get a counter.
All right. So, like I said, I thought it was just entertaining in its own right, too, because you had Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan, and we thought, oh, man, these two are going to collide. Here goes the NWO is going to implode. Here we go. And then, boink.
Yeah, not only are we not colliding, we're thick as thieves, right on the same page. Mm-hmm. Exactly what you would expect from the NWO. We're
CJ, what about you?
All of you.
CJ, how come you ever wear a referee outfit like that, the little bow tie thingy?
Fuck no.
What's wrong with the little bow tie jobby job? I don't know.
This isn't WWF in the 80s, early 90s. No.
He won't even do the Speedo thing we've mentioned.
Judy Bagwell on a pole was a pretty good low point as well.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that one.
You all together was a low point. So let's go.
Here's this will enlighten.
All I'm going to say is you want to bring up Judy Bagwell on a poll. Let's talk about Shelton Benjamin's mama.
But for me, I like the lower end of the totem pole. I don't want perfection in my wrestling show. I want it to look like they just brought a bunch of brutes together to fight. You know, that's I don't need the big spectacle. That's why I've always been a WCW guy. When I didn't even watch during the Attitude Era. I really didn't. You know, I was WCW. I didn't watch the Attitude Era. Wow. I knew it was going on, but I was more vested in the one. And that's why I kind of dig the fighting. Even Jason said last week he likes how I call it fights. I don't really call it wrestling matches. They're normally fights to me because I want to suspend a disbelief and pretend like dudes are fighting each other or women. We'll talk a lot about women.
Let's be honest, though, in today's day and age, with how much information leaks about wrestling and stuff, and everybody bashing everything else, I would love to go back to this era of where there's some shit that happens on a weekly basis that you just go holy shit to. Literally, the only thing that happens anymore that is a holy shit moment is when you get a debut. Like last night, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it later, but when Deonna Purrazzo came out, that was an unexpected thing. It was exciting. However, that was only exciting for a small sector of the audience because she is not Sasha Banks. She's not a household name. And I'm not saying, I know there's rumors and we'll talk about all that later, but I'm just saying, really, that's the only type of surprises we get in today's day and age of wrestling is when something like that happens. Like, even with Punk, when Punk came out of Survivor Series, the rumor mill was so hot about it. And everybody was speculating so much about it that, yeah, it was a great surprise. But it was not anything that you would expect. Now, let's look at Monday Night Raw. We're going to go talk about it here in a little bit. But
yes, we will.
We had a world title match. We all could have expected the cash in, and if it would have happened, we would all shit on him and be like, "Oh well, that was expected. That was expected." But what if we would have had a cash in? What if Drew McIntyre lost the match as he did, but then Damian Priest comes out and hands the case to McIntyre? McIntyre cashes in. They beat the shit out of Rollins. He joins the Judgment Day. He wins the world title right there. That's a moment. That's something we talk about. That's something nobody would have expected. But they don't have the balls to do that now. Back then, when it was the Monday Night Wars, it was, okay, this might be insane, but who gives a shit? We need to beat Raw tonight. We need to beat Nitro tonight. Like, let's send Goldust out in a diaper with a porta potty and Stone Cold and let him go and see what happens. You know what I mean? Like, I miss that shit, man.
But if you're on social media today, that same buzz that Ray's trying to talk about, they're trying to create today with our first topic. Triple H has a huge announcement, and I don't really normally like to distract our show from something else that's going on right now because TNA goes on live when we're on, other things go on live. But there's a 2024 preview show live on Peacock right now. CM Punk's being interviewed, and Triple H is going to drop some kind of bomb. And people are already saying the TNA and there's going to be a thing with TNA and WWE because of something we're going to talk about later. People were thinking maybe it's a personnel announcement of somebody. But then this afternoon, Triple H and WWE tweet out Toronto, Money in the Bank in July. Now, is this the announcement? I go right to social media, and the one thing that I normally rely on is Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful. Sean Ross Sapp said he's not confirming or denying that this is the announcement, but when he asked everyone he knows within WWE, they confirmed this is Triple H's announcement. Which, and it could be something else, but I mean, the name of the show is the Year in Review. I mean, Year in Preview. So we're previewing the year. So it wouldn't make sense if he's talking about it. I thought maybe WrestleMania 41, because normally by now you know where next year's Mania is going to be, because we're on the road now.
Minneapolis.
Right? Yeah, that's what I heard too.
But again, either one of those announcements, who gives a shit?
Yeah, they're not that big of an announcement. So it goes right in line with what Ray was saying. We're getting, and everyone bitches about Tony Khan's announcements when he does something like that. And it's just, hey, tickets are on sale for a show 12 months from now or something, you know. So exactly. I mean, it happens.
Who gives a shit?
It's getting people to tune into that show. In the chat, if anything happens on that show, I have it on. But if anything does happen that's more than just an announcement of a show, let us know. We'll talk about it. But I didn't want to dwell on that. That was today's buzz around the internet. I want to get to World's End.
Trash.
It wasn't great.
It was not.
There's a few decent matches, but
I won't disagree. And we'll talk about a couple things individually, but not waste a lot of time on things like this. we'll just move on from that one. For FTW rules.
I agree with Jason from that wrestling podcast. He was texting Doc back and forth during while we were sitting watching it, and CJ was saying the same thing. Most of this card just felt like it could have been on Collision or Dynamite.
Yes, and I don't have all the matches.
Pay-per-view worthy card.
I didn't want to add the other 7 matches that were added.
This was so fucking sloppy. It made me sick.
There was 8-man tag, and they threw in another 8-man tag, and they had some other multi-man match they added. So it's like, they overload the shit out of these pay-per-views where it all blurs together. I don't get the point
of that 8-man tag to begin with, though. So okay, I get it. Kenny got hurt.
It's fucked up. That was the whole thing.
But you had Guevara make his return. You had Jericho save him. So why not just have a promo right after that with Renee, where Jericho walks in and says, "I guess I found my replacement for Kenny." And we just get Sammy and Jericho, who have worked together.
I thought, it should have been a tag title match.
Big Bill and Starks in a tag title match, which all 4, well, take Big Bill out of the equation, but Starks has worked with Jericho. Starks has worked with Guevara. They already have some built-in chemistry. That match would have been a lot better than throwing, and I hate to say this because we love Sting. Sting was the drizzling shits in this match. He showed his age for the first time in a long time, and normally they disguise it pretty well with him, but he did entirely too much in this match. He took too much in this match, and it looked bad. And that made the whole match sloppy, because also you had guys who just weren't used to working together. Like I said, it's an overbooking problem. We all lauded Tony Khan year 1 of TNA or of AEW for being the best booker, actually telling long-term stories, blah, blah, blah. Then Triple H took over, and we're like, okay, now we actually have 2 really great bookers. Tony is becoming a victim of his own devices. He's too overloaded. There's too much going on, and he's starting to Russo the shit out of stuff where he overbooks stuff. There was no need for that to be an 8-man tag match. There was no need for that shit. There was simple is better, man. We're trying to get casual wrestling fans. Like Tony is doing exactly what Bully Ray makes fun of people all the time for, which he's booking for marks. You have to book for everybody. Yes, you want to have some surprises for the people who are smart fans, but you have to draw the casual viewer in. And if I was a casual viewer watching that match, I'm like, why the fuck is Sting doing this? Why does this match make any sense? Who gives a fuck about it?
Yeah, it's exactly what we said last week. It was a match just to get a bunch of people on the show, and it did what it is. What it is. I'd rather focus on some of the other shit that went down. Like this match, a banger match, but now we have to talk about Andrade's done. He's pretty much done with with AEW, and more than likely he's going to go back to WWE, which I think that's a better place for him. And honestly,
it is. I just didn't like how, all this build up these past weeks. I get it, extenuating circumstances with Andrade being done there, but how Lana went back to Miro. But
yeah, so I mean, it is. I
kind of saw that happen, and like you said, though, it was kind of rushed in the way it was done.
Yeah, a lot of the show was.
And I saw some reports, and I don't know how true they are, because I imagine he's going back to WWE also. But he has said that it's not about the money, and he wants to go back to CMLL and go home to Mexico for a while.
Yeah, do whatever your heart's desires. I mean,
am I mistaken, or did him and Charlotte? They're done, aren't they?
No.
I don't think so. There was rumors, but nothing ever really happened.
They posted a photo, I think, like New Year's Eve or some shit.
Okay. Now
there was a match he was just recently in I think it was Mexico. She was in the front row. He did a spot, kissed her, went back and did more wrestling.
Oh, then he's definitely going back to WWE.
Now, if you're going to point to anything that has been not that great as a bright spot the last couple of months, I still think it's the Continental Classic and the story of Eddie Kingston and putting all the title belts up, winning them. I mean, there's holes in the plot like we talked about before. He's already defending all 3 titles. Yeah, this was, you put these 2 together anytime.
It was good, but I really didn't completely get into the finish, if I'm being honest.
Was it because you kind of knew it was going to be Eddie?
No, I just thought they could have done a better finish. I get it. It was Moxley's Bulldog choke, but everything else that happened in the match, just have a regular finish, I think.
Yeah.
I like the match.
I don't disagree with you. Again, that falls into overbooking. Sorry, Doc.
It's okay.
Go ahead, Doc.
I like the match.
Never mind. What I want to say.
Jesus Christ.
It ain't you, it's Blaze.
I'm just trying to keep the show flowing. That's me. I'm the host.
Fuck it. I liked it. There it is.
I mean, they beat the snot out of each other.
I just feel that the beginning of the pay-per-view just drained the shit out of everybody, and nobody was really into it at that point. Everybody's staring at their phones at this point, and everybody's like, oh my God, did I really pay $50 for this?
I paid 20. That's still too much in my opinion after watching what went down. But all 3 belts, and we'll talk about a little bit later. Julia Hart defended her title.
Trash.
Sloppy mess.
Yeah. I mean, it's as much as we've hyped up Julia Hart and building up to it, it did kind of disappoint.
Look, Julia, if you're going to use the moonsault as your finisher, you need to be able to execute the moonsault.
Yeah, she landed on her feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looked fucking horrid.
I talked this down a little bit the last couple of weeks, but I wanted a more not that Rio's not good. I have to always preface it with that, but a more formidable opponent where you could really think she might be losing the title, and she didn't.
The problem with Rio is not her work rate. I mean, she's great in the ring. The problem is you can't buy her as a character because she doesn't speak English. They don't have anybody with her. You know, even if she was in a stable, like for instance, if she was in, say, the Outcast, and you had Saraya or Ruby that could kind of be a mouthpiece for her, and you know what I mean? Like they're doing that with Io in WWE. You know, Io barely speaks English, but she has Bailey to talk for her. She has Dakota Kai to talk for her. It makes it work, and Rio just doesn't have that, so you can't really buy her as a character. And then on the other side, you have the most character-driven wrestler in women's wrestling in it, period. And she is killing the game when it comes to her character work. It's so entertaining.
Yeah.
But because of that, you have all this character and all this personality on one side, and the other side, you have what?
Like I said, a good wrestler, but
Lee.
Yeah. So I don't know. So Tony retained, and we're getting to the good stuff here. I also thought this wasn't going to end it, and I know CJ doesn't look too pleased with how this one went down either.
I mean,
I wasn't either.
It was a good match. I mean,
I think it was great up to the finish.
I'm over the whole Luchasaurus thing, and I don't know. The match was good. Finish, in my opinion, was shit.
They screwed this up tonight, actually, or Wednesday night, actually. So me and Doc were talking about it. As soon as Luchasaurus won the TNT title contract, I called the finish of this match down to a T. Yeah, I was like, Copeland's winning, and then Luchasaurus is going to give him the contract. I like the way they did it with him resisting a little bit. Where they screwed up is literally last night on Dynamite, which should have been the return of Jungle Boy. Whenever he thanked himself, when Christian Cage thanks himself, and you can see Luchasaurus behind him get mad, Jungle Boy's music should have hit. You should have seen him come out on the stage. You should have seen the whole demeanor of Luchasaurus change, and he should have attacked Christian. And that would have also been the end of the Adam Copeland Christian Cage storyline, as now we're into another storyline.
Don't you think Jack Perry has to be a heel, though? Jack Perry has to be a heel when he comes back, right?
No.
Nope.
He doesn't have to be. He's been gone for so long, he can do whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it would be easier for people to hate him if he came back. Is kind of what if he keeps that same persona he had with the leather jacket, slick back hair, and stuff, and act like a prick. I don't know. It's just
if you're going to honestly say that he had traction as a heel, you're lying to yourself.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying if they continue
in that whole situation with CM Punk, who came out as the heel to the AEW audience? It wasn't Jungle Boy.
No,
Punk was the heel in that situation to the audience, to the people in the know.
But with this, we need to end this with a cage match or something. They should have did a cage match this time. The way this happened tells me it's not over. And that's
it's
all.
not. I mean, the way the promo was last night, it's not over.
They're just going to drag it out. Yeah, it should have been. I mean, they could go on to something else. Now let's talk about the meat and potatoes. We have what we pretty much kind of thought would happen anyway. It's kind of the theme of this whole show. There was reveals, but nothing huge. Nothing, pretty much everything we suspected. Samoa Joe won. Then we had the Devil reveal, and it was pretty much who we thought it was. Doc, you start out. Your initial thought after the reveal, how it happened, the people, everything on the whole Devil
thing. A 9-year-old sits beside you and says, yeah, totally predicted this. I just knew. Why not spice it up? I mean, I don't know if it was CJ or Ray over here that literally said, let Britt be the devil.
Yeah, I was with that too.
It would have been so great to just say, you took him from me. You're the one that was bringing him around the rats. Bring up the old promos. You're the one that he couldn't even talk to me on the phone because you had to be around. Like, really be that possessive fiance, but make it and twist it into something just simply and purely evil.
Why do you think they didn't? Do you think maybe that would take away from Adam being the top heel if she was the devil and they want to try to make Adam? I'm just trying to make sense of it.
Oh, it just like okay. I got, like he said last night in his promo, I got hurt because of you. You could have simply said, my fiance was just coming back and he got hurt because of you. You could twist so many different things that Adam Cole said last night into like Britt Baker. And then, of course, him being the lovesick puppy and going, she's right. She's right. Yeah. You could have went so awesome with this angle. And then if MJF comes back, could you imagine like the pussy whipped comments and just everything that would have been funny, because MJF could have took those and twisted them into so many different directions.
I mean, just thinking the same token, like right along what you're saying, I agree. I think Britt would have been a much better thing. It would have been a little more of a swerve. And then also it's all the friends, of Adam Cole that are now behind her. And I would not have had Cole play the lovesick puppy. I would have had Cole go back off TV after this happened. I would have had Britt give the nod for Wardlow or someone to rock Cole with the chair, just like they did MJF. And I would have had MJF and Cole off TV until Cole was healed. And then they would have got this huge baby face pop when they came back together to take on this stable that has been running roughshod with Britt as the mouthpiece. And they would have got this huge baby face thing until we finally get a match where Adam Cole then finally turns and, I can't go against my fiance, bro.
So we talked about this
on MJF, and then we get a healthy Adam Cole versus a healthy MJF and a storyline that can pay off then, as opposed to we still got 3-4 months before Cole can even walk, let alone wrestle.
So we talked about one thing, and CJ mentioned it too before, all these different avenues this could have went. It just has to make sense. If you strip this down, it does kind of make sense.
It makes a lot of fucking sense, especially with that promo last night.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't. It's just, it's an unfortunate circumstance. If this would have been written and Cole would have never been hurt.
I don't think it's that bad.
This would have been
great. Just because we kind of knew who it was, does that take away the fact that the story's still good? All these guys wanted revenge and they got him. They took everything. I don't think
it takes anything away. After hearing that promo last night, that promo told me a lot. This is far from over.
Yeah.
I would love to see it over, like an NWO thing. I kind of like to see that.
And I'm giving you the full credit, CJ, because it was your idea about Britt.
Yeah.
But like Doc laid out, and like I gave a little caveat to, I just think it's such a better story.
Oh, agreed. I'm not.
And I don't think anybody outside of you, and a few wrestling other guys that have said, about it possibly being Britt, it would have been such a shock. And with all the flack AEW gets about women's wrestling and women being in a prominent role,
it's about to
how
change.
much more prominent role could you have gotten, but for her to be leading a main event stable?
So this is the question out there, everyone, because they're playing it up. They took him off the website. They're saying he's never coming back. I mean, is there any chance that he does resign? I think he's been re-signed. I think he's been re-signed for a couple of years.
I think he's been re-signed as well.
Yeah. I like the fact that they're teasing it, though. Why not? Why not make people think he's going to leave? I love that.
Yeah, there's no way, if you're a smart businessman, which I'm giving Tony Khan some flack for his booking lately, but he's still a smart businessman. You don't get to be a billionaire and keep the money without it. But there's no way you center the entire show. And let's be honest, the entire show for the last year and a half has been built around MJF without having a contract in place. So I'm like everybody has speculated that he signed before he came back as the devil, an extension. I totally agree with that. But I love the way they're playing into it. He released this big statement on his Facebook and on his Instagram, thanking AEW and putting everybody over and all that. And look, we know he's injured. We know he needs to heal. This needs to marinate. So why not? If he's going to be off TV anyways for 6 weeks, 2 months.
Oh, it's going to be longer.
It's going to be a lot more.
It's almost the same exact injury that I had on my shoulder. I think it is the same torn labrum. It's going to be about 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, now look what they did with Adam Cole. They find a way to use him while he's still in there, and I don't mind it. I'm one of those wait and see type of guys. It's kind of what most of us expected anyway. It's better than what a lot of people was throwing at the wall anyway, and it led into what a lot of people were calling as a refresher, a reset last night at Dynamite. This is just what I've heard from other people saying that the show seemed fresh. There's no Elite. There's no Omega. There's a lot of this stuff. No Jericho. All this stuff with the fluff is not on the show. Let's concentrate on fighting. Tons of stories with the ladies, the Mariah May stuff with Deonna coming in. Samoa Joe's fire on the mic every time he touches it. I love how they started it off with his little promo, laying the groundwork. He's the man now. It's like a reset. So I think this is I said it last week. It's a huge opportunity for them to do something big at World's End and going into the new year. They didn't. They did what we expected. But still, I love the fact that it seems like we're getting a reset. Doc?
I enjoyed Swerve and Garcia. I thought that was a phenomenal main event. Those guys brought it. And it's just showing that Swerve is just moving up the rankings like he should.
He's going to be next in line for Joe. I think you got to set that up. Joe might fight Hangman first because Hangman's trying to nose himself in there too, but I don't mind it. It was time for MJ for a fresh little maneuver, something different. Christian Cage is the most heelish heel in all of wrestling right now, in my opinion. He's the best heel in all of wrestling right now, and it's not even close for me. For what we're seeing on a weekly basis, it was MJF made everyone. He was such a dick the year before last year. And everyone hated MJF so bad.
Dominic Mysterio is
and Dom too. I'm talking. Well, yes.
Dom's kind of jumping the shark though. He's actually kind of hitting the Swerve territory where he's so good as a heel that he's getting over as a heel. Like Swerve is turning himself babyface.
Oh yeah.
And that's just happening. And like with Dom now, it's like it's the in thing to boo the shit out of him. Like you're in on the joke thing with him.
And I think with Swerve, he's doing his damn good job to be a heel. The crowd is turning him face, not really himself.
Yeah, when he stuck his hand out to shake hands, I was like, oh, he is kind of teasing a face turn and boom, right in the nuggets. I loved it.
Nana's making him a heel. Or a face. Mm-hmm. Nana's turning him. One thing, though, that I really do love about Joe as champion, like you said, he's killing it on the mic. Yeah. But one thing about Joe, unlike pretty much anybody else up to now, is that Joe is a complete tweener.
Yeah.
Joe can go full heel, he can go full baby face with whoever he's versing. So whether it's not a clear cut for who his challengers can be. So he can face Hangman, he can face Swerve, he can face anybody. Because Joe is kind of that. I don't want to liken him to Austin because that's such an easy comparison. But Joe is kind of like that anti-hero, anti-villain. I'm just me, to hell with all of y'all. And that opens up tons of challengers to him. And like you said, it was kind of a reset last night. And it's really good because I'm all for seeing the main event picture be Joe and Hangman and Swerve. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like a different set of guys than we'd really seen. Not that Hangman hasn't been in the main events because he has. But let's see Swerve get up there. Jay White's had one main event match. It was really good. The feud was decent. They kind of got a babyface response in the way they were going against the Devil last night. Rock Hard, once he's back with the guns, he helps them be babyface because he's so funny and so charismatic on the mic. So let's flip them. Let's get a cool Bullet Club instead of the jackass Bullet Club. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot that can be done right now at the top of that card and rebuild.
Hey Jesse. Yeah, and a great talent, and a lot of it. I mean, even though people have said over the years, all these old talent, there's a lot of young talent that they can start, promoting and pushing up, down, having their spot. But we also saw that Deonna Purrazzo showed up, and she is all elite. And if
Love
the room, and that just adds. And I'm thinking about the last two times I've heard from Tony Khan, and he continued to say how 2024 he really does want to focus on the women's division a lot more. I'll believe it when I see it, but he definitely has the fucking weapons. And then there's Billy Starks and what's her name, Ember Moon down at ROH. Then they could come up. I mean, there's a lot. There's enough women, I think, at this point.
You're going to see Sasha probably next week.
I was going to say, did you see the rumored contract offer to Sasha?
$25 million.
Yeah, the rumor going around is $25 million for 5 years.
That's our next topic.
Which would be the richest contract for any woman.
And it went
in wrestling, not even in just AEW in wrestling.
And it went from she looks like she's going to go back to WWE. The talks are off with AEW. Then it looks like she's not going to WWE. She looks like she's signed with AEW. So that's the number I heard. The rumor right now I heard.
Well, Charlotte Flair's downside, and she is the highest paid woman. Becky Lynch is 1.5 right now. Charlotte is 2.5.
So here's the question: When does Sasha?
That's double Charlotte.
When does Mercedes? When do you bring Mercedes in?
Next
CJ,
week at Daly's place.
Yeah, Doc, you guys think of the same? Tony always tried to make those shows big at Daly's place, and I think that could be the time to do it.
That's where I was born. That's AEW's home. So why not?
I was sold on her going back to WWE a couple weeks ago. I was like, it does seem like it. Why not?
Good for her if she gets $5 million a year. And she's damn good. Do I think she's worth $5 million a year? I'll take the heat, but I don't.
I don't either. But the thing with her is, and I've heard it a lot of places, she brings in a whole new audience that some fans that aren't even wrestling fans, and there's enough of them.
I understand that.
Yeah, that's all.
But if you're good enough at what you do as a promoter and an owner, you don't need to have a Sasha Banks to bring in new fans. End of story.
Yeah,
but I don't get what I don't get, and I guess that was the point I was trying to make is. Okay, in your opinion, let's go, Doc. In your opinion, give me the top 3 professional wrestling active women right now. Any company.
Top 3. I will go Charlotte. I will go Becky. And I'm going to have to, even though I don't want to, I'm going to have to say Bianca Belair right now.
Rhea?
Oh, shit. Rhea. Never mind. Rhea. Cancel.
Okay.
Yeah.
CJ, give me your top 3.
Becky, Rhea, and I'm going to throw really a curveball, but I don't think it'll be such a curveball. I'm going to go with Bayley.
I don't disagree with that. Blaze, give me yours.
There's
a point
pretty
to
much
this,
the same. Just it's Rhea, Becky, and I don't know. I have to maybe give Tony Storm the credit for what she's doing in and out of the ring.
I'm going to agree with Doc. My top 3 is Rhea, Charlotte, and Becky.
Charlotte's
My point is that none of us, Doc flirted with it for a second until he thought about Rhea. In none of our minds, this is smart, lifelong wrestling fan and Greg, people in the business and CJ and Doc, an ex-person in the business and Booker and me. None of us have Sasha in our top 3.
No.
So to reset the market by doubling what Charlotte Flair makes, a 16-time champion who's had the entire women's division built around her in WWE for the last 8 years, to almost 3 times what Becky Lynch, who's created a movement and was at one point the hottest female wrestler in the world, and to Rhea Ripley, who is the future because she's still only in her mid-20s.
Yeah.
For them to reset the market, I think Rhea's downside's under $1 million. I don't even think she's at $1 million down under her downside guarantee. To reset the market just because she was on The Mandalorian or just because she brings Snoop Dogg's audience is a bad business move. Do I think she could help AEW? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do I think they should sign her? Absolutely. Do I think he should have sold the fucking farm to give her $5 million a year? That's what Bryan Danielson is making.
Yeah,
is Sasha Banks on the level with Bryan fucking Danielson?
Is this I'm going to sign you so they can't move?
Obviously, he's just throwing money because
that's where I'm
going back to WWE. And Tony wants to be like, I got her first.
We'll see how it pans out. That's where I'm at. I think she really was considering going back to WWE, but Tony's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll make it an offer you can't refuse. That they're
well,
not
WWE.
I don't think she's worth it either.
I was just going to say, do you think WWE was honestly offering her even $2.5 million?
No,
I think they were offering her Charlotte.
I was just going to say WWE, in her opinion, gave her a lowball offer, which probably, let's be honest, wasn't a lowball offer, but it wasn't the $5 million that AEW is offering.
That's what I'm saying. They probably offered her $1 million, $1.2 million, $1.3 million. I doubt that.
I bet you maybe the same as Charlotte.
I'm sure they slotted her below Charlotte and Becky. If not, right in line with Becky at the highest.
Yeah.
And I bet you within a year to 3, she would have been right on the same level or more than Becky and Charlotte.
Sometimes I hate the word, the phrase, but I'll say it because I agree with pretty much what you guys are saying. She's great, but she's not a needle mover. She's not like a change the game. Oh my God, wrestling's changed now because she finally signed. But it's still a decent deal. I want to see what he does with that with that division next year. You bring back Britt.
Good for AEW if that's where she shows up. And that's still yet to be determined.
Yeah, Jamie Hayter, Britt, Thunder Rosa, Tony. I mean, I could
Serena
go on
Deeb.
and on. Serena Deeb coming back. I mean, holy shit, what a division they could have. If they could get all of them, yes, have a Continental Classic for the ladies because you'll have enough to have.
He was actually in the media scrum for World's End too. Somebody asked him about the Women's Tag Team Championship, which is something I do think. I know there's too many titles. They need to quit defending ROH on AEW and all that, but I do think they need more than just 2 singles titles for the women if they're going to have a fully fleshed out division.
But if you're paying someone $5 million a year, she's better be on every fucking show.
Absolutely.
I feel like they have enough depth now in the women's division where they could have a tag team division.
Yeah. Or on a show once a week, I should say. Not necessarily all 3. But real quick, early this morning, I was getting a million alerts. So I figured we could at least talk about some of the matches that happened at Wrestle Kingdom at 3, 4 in the morning. Tanahashi's now the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling. He won that TV title, which is their newest championship, off of Zack Sabre Jr. There's also a match that I don't have that a lot of people are talking about from what I saw is Shingo and Tama Tonga. Tama Tonga won a title, but he's also leaving Japan in a month. So it's very interesting. And he has ties with Bloodline, all that shit. So you never know. This match, Finlay wins the title. This was the United States title. Then Ospreay won it, changed it to the UK title or whatever. And now it's the global title. And the news with this one was Nick Nemeth shows up at ringside with his brother. And he gets into a fight with David Finlay.
I saw a clip of,
after it's over. And Dolph, now known Nick Nemeth, has his own little video promo. If you haven't seen it, Wanted Man, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's actually really good. He kicks the head off a zombie. Yeah.
So we're going to see him over there probably challenge David Finlay for this global championship. He looks great. He always does. And he did jump over the damn table in the post conference and try to beat up Finlay, which was pretty fun. Ospreay, as we all know,
it looks like his new gimmick is going to be kind of like an action star kind of thing, which falls in with the Hollywood hunk with his brother.
I'm down with it.
As you said, he looks great. He always has. In my opinion, that's one of the most underrated workers in the last 10 years. He's one of the best sells of all time. And
yeah, definitely.
I hate to say it because, I mean, like, we all bash WWE, but this is somebody I feel like if he was still there, that Triple H could have actually finally done something with. But I think he's going to be one of those cases like Cody Rhodes, that once he's gone and gets to freshen up and be himself a little bit, that he's just going to explode.
I think too. He's a stand-up comedian.
The company's way bigger.
I mean, the promo he cut in the post show when he picked up the belt and just cut you could tell, just cut a promo. You could tell. I mean, he's a stand-up comedian. He's used to being, talking like that. I like to see him out of the web of WWE just to see. But I agree when you said he could probably do big things if he was still in WWE as well. We'll see. But that's a very interesting triumvirate. Then we got the second match between these two, and Danielson lost. Danielson tapped him out the first time. Okada got him to pin. They both bowed to each other, a lot of respect. I think we see Okada-Danielson 3 at Forbidden Door, which would be great. Just don't get hurt, either of you guys, because I love watching those two fight.
I'll tell you what, the Rainmaker he put on Danielson, I didn't watch the show, but I watched some clips.
That's all I've seen is highlights.
And that Rainmaker lariat he gave him, he ripped his head off.
And Naito became the champ, defeating Sonata, who I think just won that championship not too long ago. So some news. I wanted to mostly cover the Nick Nemeth thing because that's going to be interesting because we were wondering where he was going to end up, and see him in Japan, and he seemed fired up. It's interesting. Let's talk a little bit more about this. Hard to Kill, the TNA rumors. Now, what people are reading into now is Worlds Will Collide, which, if you know, is an NXT pay-per-view. So they're thinking there could be something, and I still haven't heard anything in the chat or anything from Peacock about any huge announcement other than what the shows are coming up.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that under like the Endeavor umbrella, TNA is going to have their streaming stuff. So
correct. There is a connection within the right. So if something does happen, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility at this point. Now, my question to you guys is, if you're going to make a poster like you won't believe who's showing up, you better come with something. Do you guys have any thoughts of? My first thought was AJ Styles. When I think of TNA, I think of AJ Styles. I don't know if they're going to cross over that far, or if it will be strictly NXT and TNA, or if it does anything like that. But if you could, who is showing up? Who do you guys think that could be? It's got to be something groundbreaking.
I don't think you're going to see AJ. AJ's
no, that's the big one I would do if I could. But
AJ's in the midst of his own little heel turn and reestablishment on the main roster. But if they were going to do this, I could see it being something with NXT. But if it's going to be something with NXT, then you're going to send Braun.
Yeah, but this is the show they've been advertising as the first TNA branded show. So I don't think this will be the crossover. I think that might be later on. This could be where they announce it, but this has to be about TNA. I think they're going to go back and try to have this show like an old TNA.
There was
show.
Rumors that it was Okada who
That's another one that
they took the Punk money and gave to, but
there's a show with MLW right now, and they just booked Josh Alexander versus Hammerstone. And there's some big matches over there in that one too. So the ability, even the talk of WWE possibly working with someone outside of their company, I love it. I'm here for it. If it happens, it happens.
I'm going to put it to you like this. If anybody from WWE shows up on this pay-per-view, it's a win for TNA.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Big time. And a win for wrestling as a whole, because that's one thing I would, even last year, after seeing AEW do, all these, with CMML, AAA, with New Japan, and the Forbidden Door and all that, I would have never thought. Now, under the Triple H thing, we're seeing things have changed. So maybe we will see something. We'll talk more about that next week, obviously. The final thing, Monday night, we had the big return of a former champion. It was Jinder Mahal. I love how they did that.
I'll make mine quick, short, and to the point. It could have been about 5 to 7 minutes shorter. The big line was, I'm going to sit at the head of the table, and they wasted the pop probably that they were wanting on this for when he did the Smackdown in Denver.
Now, the thing I did hear was it did go over about 7 minutes, number one. And number two, I love The Rock, don't get me wrong. But do they have to be asshole douchebags, son of a bitches, and more assholes? I mean, there was I'm not shit, I cuss all the time, and I love cussing. It was just it seemed like there, but I love The Rock. He did his little song, it worked. But the real question is, what happens now? I mean, how does this affect Mania? What's what do you, I know, Ray, I know you're going to have something lined up.
I already know what Ray's going to say.
But, and here, before anything, if anyone says that this match should be at Elimination Chamber, remember that's 4:30 a.m. Eastern. It'll be like Wrestle Kingdom. No one's going to see it.
But it'll spruce up that market for them to go back there. And if you look at the stadium,
maybe an appearance, but not the match. Maybe an appearance, not the match.
Why not?
Because I think that show should be about Rhea defending her title.
You don't think people would get up at 4:30 in the morning to watch that if they knew it was going to be Rock and Roman?
Wrestling fans, yes. Because what I saw last night, waking up at piss at 3 o'clock and then 4 and 5, the way my ex Twitter was, just about people talking about Wrestle. I can't believe I got up at 3 in the morning to watch this. My 2 hours of sleep just so I could watch this. People will do it. Yes, I'm not saying it. I'm just saying it seems like that's a Mania match, bro.
All right.
Good.
Doc, you want to go first before I spoil because I'm sure you have an opinion too.
Let me throw my one that I heard, which I don't mind out, which would be Punk and Seth, obviously night 1, this night 2, and Cody finishes the story at SummerSlam.
No.
Because that gives everybody's goal is received that way. But
here's what I do. So Jinder Mahal comes out on Raw Monday night, runs down The Rock for interrupting him, blah, 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 and challenges him to a match. That way we get The Rock on that card in Australia, help sell that stadium out. We know it's going to be a squash match, doesn't matter, but we're actually going to have on the card Roman Reigns and The Rock in 2 separate matches. We're going to have Randy Orton probably in a rematch from Rumble, which is what I would do. I would have a schmoz finish at Rumble for Orton. He would get a rematch at Elimination Chamber for the title. I would have the Rock music hit in the middle of that match while the Bloodline's trying to interfere, and I would have the Rock cost Roman Reigns the title, making Randy Orton the new world champion. Now, if we don't do this at Elimination Chamber, this could still be achieved by doing it at Rumble. Same thing, but I would do it at Elimination Chamber.
If that happens, then I'm Drew. I'm leaving the company. If that happens, then I'm Drew, because that should be Drew.
Let me ask you all this.
But I don't mind.
Here's why, though, because then we have Cody versus Randy Orton.
Yeah,
who can tell a great story.
Yeah,
they've been members of Legacy. There's both, third generation, second generation stars. That could be a great match. Cody still gets to win the title at Mania. We get Rock and Reigns, and now there's no title in that match, so it becomes far less predictable, and it only becomes about the head of the table, and it doesn't fuck up Punk and Seth.
CJ?
Why?
Love this debate.
Why does Cody have to finish the fucking story at WrestleMania? Why? He doesn't.
That's why I said SummerSlam. Yeah, he doesn't have to.
Let's be honest.
Punk does, because his is just main eventing Mania. So his does have to be at Mania. Doesn't have to be for a title, though. Just has to be main event.
Right.
Let's be honest, though. Does the world title, or not even does, should the world title be involved between Rock and Roman?
No, I don't think so. But here's another thing. It's looming. It's Hogan's reign in September 14th.
Who gives a fuck?
I still think Roman's going to beat Cody, and they're planning on Cody finishing the story next WrestleMania.
Clinton, you're wrong. He doesn't need that WrestleMania moment yet. It doesn't have to be this year, and he doesn't have to finish the story a WrestleMania.
Get ready for him not winning. Even if he does fight Roman, get ready for Roman winning. I love this fucking debate. This is why I love wrestling, because this is a huge story.
To me, it makes more sense for Cody to finish the story not at WrestleMania, because you expect it at WrestleMania.
Now, yeah, because if he would have won it the first time, you wouldn't know. But now that it is the second time, I agree with you, CJ. You're going to be like, oh, he's finishing the story.
It means more for him finishing the story if it's not at a WrestleMania, I think.
Well, what if Cody gets that Money in the Bank in July, and it's a surprise when he does finish the story.
You remember whenever Danielson had WrestleMania, he got in by winning at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'm with you. I don't think it needs to be at Mania. I don't think two of those feuds don't need titles, and that's Seth and Punk and Roman and Rock. But this is good for wrestling, though.
I'm telling you, Orton needs to, whether it's at Rumble or Elimination Chamber, Orton needs to take the belt off of it. Orton's a credible champion. Rock cost him, which is what would drive Roman nuts and make the promos great. Cody wins an Elimination Chamber match at Elimination Chamber to become the number one contender. That gives us another huge main event. I'm telling you, that's the way it has to go that way.
I'm starting to call people out, and not in an ignorant way. Crushing Kelly, I love you, but you're still going to watch, right? You're still going to watch, right?
I say the same thing about Roman's reign. I think it's too long, but they want.
It hasn't been too damn long. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Well, he's about to beat Bruno's his second longest reign.
He'll never beat Bruno's actual reign.
Well, that's 6 years from now, so no.
Just think about this. Night one of WrestleMania, the main events are Gunther versus Brock Lesnar, Seth versus CM Punk. Night two of WrestleMania, Orton versus Cody for the title, and Rock versus Roman.
For the head
Tell
of the table.
me that is not. I don't even give a shit what the undercard is.
I really think this is going to be great.
WrestleMania then become unfucking fathomably great.
They have the option. The most stacked Mania ever.
Yeah, this could be the biggest Mania ever the way there. Because you think maybe Austin wants a fight. Now that might screw up the Seth thing because I want to see Austin versus CM Punk. So
I don't want to see that in a match. What would be great? What would be great is to have Austin come out and congratulate Punk after he wins the world title. Beer bash him, and whenever Punk looks at the beer like, I don't drink, dude. I'm straight edge. Stunner.
I know no one wants to see this either, but Hogan's been working out talking about one more match too.
Fuck no.
Atticus, it's not. It doesn't feel stagnant. It is stagnant.
Yeah, but like you said, like CJ said, people will continue to watch, and we don't. I love the fact we don't know how this is going to turn out right now. And
you want a match for Austin at Mania? I'll give you a match for Austin at Mania. Austin and LA Knight versus Grayson Waller and Austin Theory.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'd be down.
And I'll tell you who does know the finish to Cody's story. One fucking person. Cody fucking Rhodes.
Yeah.
Everybody take a fucking chill pill and watch wrestling and wait for it to happen. Cody is not a fucking moron. When it does finish, it will be good.
That's why
and if not, I'll eat my own shit.
I'm a reactive wrestling fan. I don't like, we talk about what we might happen, we might think would happen, but I love just waiting to see what's going to happen and reacting from it. And we have a lot of exciting things going on in multiple companies right now. And I think that's awesome. This year is going to be amazing for wrestling. So we got at the end of the day here before we rock and roll. I don't know if anyone heard anything, if there's any other news that they had on that preview show. It doesn't sound like it. Nothing's really blowing up on social media, so I'm guessing they spoiled their own big announcement about it. Ray, at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, I think it is official for the year 2024. CJ has taken up the mantle of cantankerous old fuck.
I love it, though.
And Doc has now been downgraded to grumpy old fuck. But it is still the right side of the screen as the old fuck section.
And I'm the oldest old fuck.
I'm the second oldest fuck, I think.
Mr. Doc, at the end of the day, bro, how you feeling about it?
At the end of the day, I would love to get a fucking word in. Other than that, we're good. CJ, go ahead.
At the end of the day, first and foremost, I'm ready to walk with Elijah on February 24th. And I'm just sick and fucking tired of all these internet wrestling fans that think they're entitled and have a fucking clue on what's really going on behind the scenes. It's not for anybody, myself included, to fucking know. Just watch it and be happy you're getting a good fucking product. The same shit we were bitching about at WWE 18 months ago, we're now bitching about at fucking AEW, and WWE is now back on. I didn't get a chance to watch Dynamite. I heard it was really good, like the old Dynamites we loved. So just fucking enjoy it. Fuck.
You don't know the half of it, bro. But I feel you.
I do know the fucking half of it.
Yeah, go on social media. I'll show you a couple other accounts to check out if you really want to.
Wrestling fans are literally the worst fans in the entire world. I fucking said it. I don't care.
They're the worst. To me, they're the worst and they're the best at the same time because there's so many different ways to love wrestling, and that's your WrestleSense. And we'll send it away on that. Love you guys. See you next week.